My name's Paul Zalitis, also known as the Aussie Wrapper. The Prosperity Show is going to be so good today. Prosper is going to interview me, the Aussie Wrapper. Also, go to my website, www.aussiewrapper.com.au, and I'd also like you to check out the Aussie Wrapper's complete guide, www.aussiewrapper.com.au/VIP. Thanks for joining us.
Hello everyone and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have a phenomenal guest with us, none other than the Aussie Wrapper himself. Paul, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Prosper, thank you very much for inviting me on the show. Very excited to share some great insights with you and your viewers.
Absolutely. When I got wind that you wanted to be on the show, I couldn't wait, and then the holidays happened and now we've gotten you on the show. But before we get excited, Paul, you do have a disclaimer that you want to tell our audience before we get started with the episode?
Absolutely. I'm not a financial advisor. I have got an Australian credit license, an ACL. However, any legal matters that you need to discuss with your own accountant and your lawyer. So please, I am not a financial advisor. So you've got to find out all your legals yourself.
Fantastic. Now that we've got all the legalese out the way, let's have some fun, Paul. Now, for those that are wondering, they might be wondering what a Aussie Wrapper is. All right. So from my own understanding, don't get me wrong, I thought you were one of those people that stand with the microphone and you're hip, hip, hooray, and you're a rapper all over the place. But I had to do some research. All right. So those that are wondering, Paul specializes in what's called vendor finance, a unique approach where the owner of the house actually finances a buyer into it. And he's not only helping you to buy a house, but he also teaches you how to then build positive cash flow in real estate. Hence that disclaimer that we wanted to put out there, just so that people will not get the information from this video and go out and make a mess of it. But we've got the Aussie Wrapper himself to give us all the ins and outs of how it actually works. So let's dive into Paul's incredible journey and learn about his expertise and also uncover the secrets of his success. Now, Paul, I've already welcomed you to the show. You're not a guest anymore. Could you maybe tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do as an Aussie Wrapper?
Prosper, in early 2000s, I did a lot of research. I read a lot of books, Robert Kiyosaki, John Burley, all the stuff to get my head around. We had negatively geared properties, which, as you know, or if you don't know, a lot of people, is you pay out $1 to claim back 30 cents. Of course, it's all right. Some people do like negative gearing as a tax thing for tax purposes, but we don't do that. I'm interested in vendor finance, which is helping people that can't necessarily get a bank loan. For example, they've got not a bad credit report, but they've got some black marks on their credit report, which they haven't paid a bill. So that means they can't get a loan from me. So they come to myself. I've got a home that I want to help people get into the home, and it's a wraparound mortgages. I have a mortgage, or the wrappee, the wrapper, which is myself, has a home, which I sell to the wrappee, which is a person paying the mortgage off to me. I don't lend them money or lend them finance. I'm a mediocre person that they pay off for them.
Fantastic. So you are putting yourself in between the bank or the lender and the end user in order for them to get themselves, into the property market.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Prosper. They've got their foot in their door, and they're people that are going to be home purchasers. So it's a whole different mental. There's people that have rented a house, that is fine, but their mental attitude is they are going to purchase this home. They're homeowners. They respect the home. They look after the home. If they need to do anything to the home, they go to the council to get all the approvals. For example, they might want to put a pergola out the back or a bedroom, so they get all the proper approvals, which goes through the wrapper myself to see, yes, they've got those approvals, they can move ahead, which builds their equity and builds their home.
Fantastic. So you are basically taking on a lot of risk to enable somebody else who couldn't have by themselves been able to get into the property market. What has presented the need for a job like yours in an economy like Australia?
It's a lot. You'd be surprised how many people can't get bank loans. Banks have tightened up on lending people money. And this is it's a win-win situation, because you're making positive cash flow being the wrapper. You still have the home in your name. The title is still in your name until they purchase the home, till they've refinanced into the banking system, or they've sold the home. So the risk is you still own the home. This is where I come in as a coach, where people come to, and I guide them right through on which is the proper clients to get into the home.
Fantastic. And with this sort of risk, your compensation now then comes in the form of them making their monthly mortgage contributions, and you then taking a bit of remuneration from that. But a mortgage is 30 years. So are you putting your neck on the line for somebody for 30 years then?
We do work on a 25 to 30-year mortgage. However, we try to refinance them within 12 months to 2 years to 3 years. The banking system wants to find a continuity of a minimum of 12 months. So then the wrapper can go into the bank and say, look, I've paid the Aussie Wrapper 12 months continually, every week or every month for those payments, and away they go. So they can they can refinance into the banking system.
Right. So in layman's terms, you sort of guarantee that they, after 1 year, can now be in their own home, but it would have happened just because you as an Aussie Wrapper made the initial transaction happen.
Absolutely. And it all depends on the banks. The banks might want a year and a half, 2 years, depending on the banking policies. As you know, they might say, yes, it's good for a year, 2 years, 3 years, come back to us. And also the mortgage brokers, they will look at this as well, and they would say, right, great, we've got a really good client here. They've paid their dues for that year or longer, and it's all there, all the documentation's there.
Fantastic. And how did you end up getting into this? Is this one of those things that you were in the shower and you're thinking, how can I wake up one day and become the Aussie Wrapper?
Well, as I said, Prosper, I just knew there was a better way, and I knew that there have to be making positive cash flow. The negative gearing just wasn't working for us. It was costing us too much money. As I said, you spend money, but you claim back a little bit more money. So it's a win-win situation. I love helping people. I love coaching people. And you go to these people's place that you've put into a home, and you go there for a coffee, and you're there for 4 or 5 hours. They're showing us the home and what they've done and what they haven't done. And it's a really, really good business to be in.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, a home is a place where memories are made, and memories are created, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Christmas was just around the corner. If you were homeless, you wouldn't have enjoyed family or the roof above your head. And so you literally giving people back their dignity and, back their sanity, so to speak, and a better sort of lifestyle. Now, who are the types of people that you primarily work with? Is it just anybody else?
No. Well, you mean as in selling what I do, Prosper, or getting people into the homes? What do you mean by that question?
Well, sort of both. Who are the ideal customers that you want to work with and help to achieve this?
Well, my ideal client is people who've got negatively geared properties, houses, that are sick of the negative gearing trap and would like to make positive cash flow and learn what I do, and I can teach what I do. Investors or people that are looking at doing investment in real estate and working right up to it. I go right from the start, what properties to purchase, how to do it, where to go, what not to do, all the way through to getting the client, finding people. See, a lot of tradesmen, for example, they've got to have 2 years financials, Prosper, if they're a tradesman, and they go to the bank and they've started a business for 6 months. Well, the banks aren't going to give them a loan. So they're usually earning very good income, got their business up and running. They can come to myself, or I can teach someone, right, let's get them into a house, bang. And if they're a tradesman know other tradesmen. So away they go. They're really good payers, which I've put tradesmen into houses before, and they're great. So they're the two options that you're looking at getting into.
Fantastic. Now, does the customer of yours have a choice or an option where the house could be, or are you presenting them a house that has come available that you can actually then get them to go into?
I would recommend houses to them that they could go and see. And there's, as you know now, there's so much research out there, depending on what areas that they're in. I always recommend people that should live about 5 or 10 kilometres, or maybe 50 kilometres maximum away from their house that they're going to wrap. And then they can go and have a look at it, kick the tyres, talk to the agents, talk to the people, talk to the people around the area to see what it's really, really like. So that's what I recommend.
Oh, now, Paul, if you want to be a music rapper, all you need is a microphone, a couple of lyrics, and some really, really baggy jeans. Now, what does it entail for somebody to become a rapper in the vendor finance side of things?
It's good research, a lot of reading, going out, getting and really wearing out the shoe leather, Prosper, getting out there, walking and talking to the agents, finding out the house values, what you can do, what you can't do. And through myself, I know exactly where to go and what to do and what sort of questions you can ask the agents and people that are selling their home that aren't necessarily with real estate agents. So this is another piece of the puzzle, I suppose.
Absolutely. And you talk about reading and learning and constantly, educating yourself. I've seen and heard that you're an avid reader of Robert Kiyosaki and Tony Robbins, but these people are not Australian. How have their teachings sort of influenced your approach to business and real estate, especially in the Australian markets?
Well, it's just that you sort of adapted to the Australian markets. You talk to a lot of other people that were in the industry. There's not that many people in the industry now in vendor finance in Australia. Also, I'd like to put out there as a disclaimer, you can't do it in Victoria and you can't do it in South Australia. So that's another thing, that they won't let people do vendor finance in those two states now. The states and territories they can. So there's a big bit of a hoo-ha about that, but it's certainly legal in those states, and I've done it, and it's a really good way to get people into the homes and to invest in real estate.
Fantastic. And obviously you've created a guide around who can benefit from this and things of that nature. And I think you've called it the complete guide. Maybe just tell us a little bit about what it is and how people can get hold of this Wrapper guide.
It's called the Aussie Wrapper's Complete Guide. It's got everything in it about from go to woe, what you'd like to, what you want to do, what you've got to do with your with wrapping and the whole vendor finance journey on how to do it and what to do it. So that's the Aussie Wrapper's Complete Guide, and there's also a hell of a lot of information on my YouTube channel, which gives a lot more information.
Absolutely. And how can people get a hold of this guide? Because you're just holding it and now you're putting it under your table.
Yes, it's it's www.aussiewrapper.com.au/VIP.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that those details are in the show notes, and people will definitely be able to get access to that. And talking about wwws, I went onto your website and you've got this really bold statement that says, 2 things well. Can we actually trust you with other things, or just these two things that you know well, which is helping people buy a house and then teaching them how to build positive cash flow? Maybe elaborate on why these two aspects are your focal point and why anybody should care about that.
Well, the first thing is I can help people make positive cash flow through vendor finance. That's what I do, the business. Also helping people that possibly can't get a bank loan, don't want to go to a bank as well. I can help them get into a bank and get their foot on the ladder, as you said before, Prosper, and they can do it step-by-step process. I can help them all the way through it on how they can do it. Also on my website, I'm not a licensed real estate agent, but I am promoting properties on my website, so people can go to that website as well if they want to have a look at it.
Fantastic. I think what you're bringing to the table is a whole unique way of getting into the property sort of ladder. Now, does this only work for, home buyers who are purchasing their principal place of residence, or are you also doing this for investors?
Also doing it for investors. Also doing it for investors. Investors, that's the key one. Prosper, for people that want to invest in a home, then on-sell the home using vendor finance. That's the big one.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people will benefit from that, because some people might still be going through a mortgage, but have, gathered a bit of equity, and then the bank is just looking at them and looking at their credit card bills and saying, there's a lot of Netflix going on there. Why don't you put down your vendor, your mortgage, and then we'll maybe look at that. But some professionals out there, and I'm happy you've given us a disclaimer and things of that nature, so they're not going to come and sue me. They might come and sue you.
Absolutely.
Some financial advisors out there really are advocates of, this whole negative gearing and getting people, like you said, to pay $1 and claim 30 cents back. Now, why should somebody consider ditching negative gearing and then focus on building cash flow positive, especially in investments?
Yeah. Well, they sell negative gearing as a good thing because it's a tax break. Might claim your interest back on your loan, which is true. You can do that for negative gearing if you're a high income earner. You can't claim as many things back now. You can't claim travel with negative gearing. You used to be able to claim travel to your property back, but you can't do that anymore. It's really, really narrows it down. So it doesn't make it as attractive as you might think. They think it's a good thing. It may be a good thing if you're a high income earner and you can claim a lot more tax back, but it's not really, because you've still got to pay out a lot more money, Prosper, to claim that money back. As I said, pay out $1 to claim back 30 cents. Just doesn't make sense. Robert Kiyosaki goes off the brain in his book about negative gearing. He can't believe it. A country like Australia, a smart country, has got anything like negative. Why you have negative gearing? It's in the word, negative. So you want to get positive cash flow. It's all in the word, positive.
Absolutely. And I mean, so many people have so many ideas and concepts around property, and I know your biggest competition is Auntie Sally. You know who Auntie Sally is, Paul?
No, tell me, Prosper.
Right. So at every barbecue, at every Christmas, at every gathering, there's always that old lady who knows a thing or two about self-managed super funds, knows a thing or two about real estate, knows a thing or two about jobs and things of that nature. Now, how do you tailor these strategies to unique circumstances that individuals might have, especially when you're coaching them and mentoring them?
Well, I really find out how they come to these conclusions. It's very, very interesting. Some of the older ladies, you'd be surprised, they probably own 10 or 12 properties, but you don't really know until you start digging deep and find out what if they really do have, or they're just talking about it. So you've got to gauge everyone one by one. And I'm glad you brought up the coaching thing, Prosper, because I coach everyone differently. For example, you might have a home, you might have an investment house. I say, right, do this. Someone I will have someone that's looking for an investment house. You do this. So my tailoring is a one-on-one coaching. So, okay, where are you up to? I'm hard but fair. But if you want results, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Okay, let's go and do it. So this is how I approach it at the barbecue, and you get some you get some funny stories of everyone that thinks they know what they're doing, but then you think, now hang on, that's not right. You just got to be very diplomatic.
Absolutely. I mean, with the work that you do, you are literally giving people back to themselves. You can imagine if people have been rejected by the bank and mortgage brokers don't even want to talk to them because they are not the golden sort of financials or person, but then you come into the mix. I'm picturing a very tall Paul with a cape that has got a W at the end, which says rapper. Maybe you can share with us a success story where your coaching or mentoring actually really led to some significant positive outcome for a client.
There's a great testimonial on my website from Dylan Zalitis, which people will be able to see. I coached him through 2 wrap properties, a young guy. He's a mortgage broker now. He's a very, very nice guy, and he did the steps what I told him to do through my mentoring, through my Aussie Wrappers Complete Guide. There was a property that he was going to purchase, and it's on the. I'm sure it's on the testimonial that I got him not to purchase that property. I thought, no, that's not the purchase property to buy, and he didn't purchase that one. He got another one, but he did 2 successful wraps and vendor finance. He's really, really good. And just on another note, a client, a couple that I put into a home, they weren't even married. They were just engaged. They had 3 beautiful children, and they had their home, and they sold their home, and they've moved into a better home now. So without myself putting them into that home, they would have never had that opportunity. So it's a really good opportunity, and they're great people, really, really lovely couple. So it's good. It's good to have a win-win.
I like that. And good on you for having such a success story. Now, there's a lot of people that are clearly on a race to the bottom and they're winning it. Especially with negative geared properties and things of that nature. What sort of advice would you give to people moving forward now that they know something like this is possible, that they don't keep winning this race because it's a futile end?
The first thing would be to go to my website, www.aussiewrapper.com.au, get some information. Also go to my YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos there. There's about 16 videos there, which will help people get their head around on what I do and how to do it. So that would be the first thing. And read as much information as they can. There's a lot of pretty weird press out there, Prosper, and I don't have to tell you, there's some pretty weird stuff there. The Fear Factor sells newspapers, sells television. So it's really, you've got to really do your own homework. As you know, you get 12, 13 economists in a room, they're never going to agree. It's very, very, very interesting times ahead to see what happens.
Fantastic. Well, I think it was Warren Buffett that mentioned that you go out buying when there's a bloodbath on the street, and if the newspapers are crying foul, then you want to be looking out for the Aussie Wrapper out there. And there's something that I just noticed about your logo there. That's actually AW in your logo, right?
Yes.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about wraps it up for this show today. Did you like that, Paul? We're wrapping it up.
I did.
Yeah,
I loved it, Prosper. Very good. Very good.
Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us today. And I think I've learned a hell of a lot in this than I've ever done in any of our episodes. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Prosper. My pleasure. It was very good. I really enjoyed the interview.
Fantastic. And to our viewers, if you're looking to buy a house or invest wisely and also build a positive cash flow in real estate, I think Paul is the go-to expert. Just find out what he has to offer and check out his Aussie Wrappers complete guide and explore the house and land packages that he is recommending, and also see if this sort of investment is suitable for your circumstances. Now, for more information on Paul's services and to connect with him directly, head over to his website. I'm going to be putting in that information in the show notes below. And yeah, I think this has been one of the most insightful episodes that we have had. Most episodes are ordinary, you know. It's a lawyer, they do lawyering things. It's a mortgage broker, they do mortgage broking things. But an Aussie Wrapper, now that's the first one. Thank you so much for tuning into the Online Prosperity Show, and be sure to subscribe to this channel, and also the Aussie Wrapper channel. I'll be putting the link to in the show notes below, so that you too can do and have a happier existence, especially in Australia, and taking advantage of the property ladder. Until next time, stay prosperous. It's a wrap. Bye for now.